Hello everyone and welcome to this video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Haven for the PC. The game was developed and published by the Game Bakers and is a sci-fi romance exploration RPG which claims that love can conquer all. However, the game also appears to be slightly similar to another sci-fi exploration game known as Toejam and Earl, but I will go into that in more detail later on in the review. Haven is a game all about surviving in a harsh unknown environment with the one that you love. You'll explore in this new world together, you'll cook together, you'll eat together, you'll sleep together, and pretty much everything else which you can think of. However, is this actually a good game or not? Here's the details in the review. Our story is about two lovers who have left behind everything that they have ever known, all for the sake of their love for each other. To have this make any sense, our two main characters come from a world where everything is essentially decided for them, from what they'll do job-wise to who they'll end up being partnered with, and pretty much everything else. It's this way of life which has led them to break free and run away. They steal a ship, switch off the navigation systems, turn off all the auto features, and then head for a region of space which is apparently meant to be off limits due to being inhabitable. However, once they arrive at their destination and feel that they have escaped their past lives, they soon settle down together and make the ship a home and begin their new lives the way they want to. Yet, not everything runs smoothly as you plan, and due to unforeseen circumstances, the ship gets damaged and it's up to our two main characters to get things back up and running again. Our two lovers will explore their new homeworld together, and during the events which unfold before them, they'll find out hidden truths not only about the planet on which they're on, but also about themselves as well. Our two main characters are U and K, and throughout a large portion of the game, it's mostly these two which you will interact with. And by that, I mean that they interact with each other on a constant and consistent basis. For example, whilst exploring your new homeworld, you'll have several conversations with each other, ranging from what you plan to eat that particular day, to if you plan to camp out under the stars, or even if you had a shower on that particular morning or not. And here's the beauty with this. The characters really do feel like an actual genuine couple, because they really do interact with each other. They'll be all lovey-dovey one moment, and then the next they'll be all aloof. They'll have arguments, disagreements, and various give and take moments throughout the entire game. It's this which really brings the characters to life, because the voice actors and actresses in this game really have done an incredible job of breathing life into these characters. It isn't something as simple or as basic, such as a Hollywood blockbuster movie, where characters A and B are happy at the start of the film, fall out in the middle, and then obviously get back together at the end. U and K do feel real, because throughout the entire game, you do get a genuine feel that this is a realistic relationship, due to the fact that all the way through, both characters' interactions are honest. You'll see sections where characters have disagreements and awkward moments. There'll also be sections where they're happy, or where one moment they're sad, or other moments where they're simply just lazing about, doing absolutely nothing. The point is that the characters in this game really are something special, and if anything, I know that they should win you over fairly easily, if nothing else. Haven's gameplay will seem rather familiar to you once you start playing. Well, it will if you're old enough to have ever owned a Sega Mega Drive as a kid, and owned a copy of the classic alien adventure game known as Toejam and Earl. I'm not saying that they're exactly the same, not by a long shot, yet Haven feels very familiar to me in that the scope that with both games you're on an alien world which you'll explore, and you'll go around collecting various bits of your damaged spaceship. The big main difference here, however, is that the game is mainly focused on a romance, and the romance is a huge part of what makes Haven what it is, and what makes the plot itself. with the plot being a lot more deeper and slightly more sinister than what Toejam and Earl's is. Aside from that, what you'll be doing in this game is you'll be going around exploring and collecting various bits and pieces. You'll use the various bits and pieces that you find to help you survive by either repairing a piece of damaged ship, or you'll create medical supplies, make food, synthesize better equipment, and more. Whilst exploring, you're also going to be coming across various beasts and monsters, which you're going to need to fight off against, and I'll be honest on this one, I found the controls rather difficult to get the hang of at first. When in combat mode, the game switches to a type of turn-based system, but where everything is done in real time, meaning enemies will constantly attack you if you just stand there and do nothing at all. And because you control 2 players at the exact same time, things can get a little complicated. You'll control one character's actions through the directional analog stick, and the other character's actions are controlled via the 4 main buttons, either on the keyboard or the controller. This doesn't sound bad on paper, but when put into practice, well, it's going to take a fair amount of practice to get used to. Even when I thought I had this nailed down, I still found myself giving up quite a fair bit and making mistakes when it really costed me dearly. Haven's graphics are nothing short of absolutely beautiful. The fact is that with this section of the review, I really do think that I could just sit back and let the footage do the job for me. As everything in this game, with its graphics, is just so wonderfully well done and created. It's even more impressive once you realise that this game wasn't made by some giant multi-million mega corporation, but was instead made by a small indie developer team who literally consisted of around 10 to 15 people. And these people made everything from scratch that you see. And once you realise that, you really do come to understand that the graphics in this game are exceptionally impressive for what they are and from where they've come from. Just as with the graphics section of this review, the environment aspect of the game is also exceptionally very well done and created. You start off on a small section with the shuttle, but then once the quake happens and everything opens up, you then begin to explore the new floating island pieces, which each are filled with different monsters, creatures, items, and landscape layout. Some locations will look like blue forests, others open sandy deserts, some large open lakes, and others huge towering rocky mountains. There's a huge amount of range and variation in the world in which you're going to be exploring. And as I've already stated, this was made by a small indie team, which, again, is going to make you realise just how much time and effort has been put into making what Haven is. Haven is a perfect example of gaming being done right. It's a perfect example of a game where you can tell that the developers did actually care about the game in which they were making, and that it did actually mean something to them, and that it was important that you, the player, saw and felt that as well. This is a game which shows how good that gaming can be when done right, because it's got that something special about it, and it has that ability to suck you in and make you care about it and fall in love with it. It's a game that no matter what mood that you're in, be it from being tired from a hard day at work, feeling happy or sad or whatever else, it can draw you into its world with its brilliant cast of characters, environments and story. And then very quickly, without realising it, you can find that you've lost several hours simply just doing nothing in it. If you want a great game with real heart and soul to it, then Haven is definitely for you. I cannot recommend this game enough. Well, that's it for this review, guys. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and please subscribe.